In this video, I'm going to be reading through all the Doom 2016 Codex entries that I've found throughout the campaign. I already asked Samuel Hayden if he was interested in learning about the Doom lore, but he told me that was too meta of a joke. He then, like a broken NPC, stared at me uncomfortably long until I left. Sadly, that does mean I have to give up these comfy-looking chairs he has in his office, but just outside there's some slightly less comfy-looking chairs, but for the sake of our purposes, they will do just fine. Sit back, relax, and enjoy your extra-large tub of cheese balls, because this video is gonna be a long one. Or, just skip around the video to the specific entries you want to hear me voice, and then inevitably put this on as background audio as you go and clean your room. Let's get started, shall we? This is the Doom 2016 Codex, split up into these following categories: environments, database, UAC personnel, weapons, monsters, artifacts, and tutorials. The only category I will not read through in this video is probably going to be tutorials. The rest I'm genuinely interested in learning about. But tutorials, you can kind of just figure that out yourself by playing the game. So let's start off, shall we? First things first, before we actually get into this, I'm going to try and do this in a singular take, so I do apologize if there are any errors or misspeakings. Like if I say a word all weird, don't make fun of me too badly. It's kind of late right now, but I figured I'd knock it out of the way. Also, secondly, if you hear my dog, snoring or something in the background, I do apologize. I'm trying to do this whenever other folks in the house are asleep, and that includes my dog. Otherwise, you'd hear a lot more background noise. But in any case, let's get into this. So, under the Environments tab, we have the UAC. This is decoded entry 001/002. Can I swap between those? Oh, I can. Oh, interesting. So there's doubly so. Okay, cool. The UAC, decoded entry 001/002. A brief history. Despite the discovery of liquid water on Mars in the early 21st century, the colonization of Mars had little appeal beyond exploration for the next century. With the discovery of the Argent Fracture, a trans-dimensional stream of unrefined argent plasma, in 2095, settling and mining Mars became both practical and essential to meet the vast energy demands of Earth. However, the need for atmospheric conversion and terraforming of the red planet was a task that seemed insurmountable to all but one corporation, the UAC. Through their diligent dedication to technological advancement and forward thinking, an outpost was established in NTC 2096 to extract argent plasma from the fracture. When this plasma is subjected to the UAC's fermionic transference pattern, argent energy is produced. This remarkable venture eventually bore fruit, as argent energy became the primary power source for all of Earth. New visitors to the UAC facility may take for granted the rich atmosphere while on the surface, but it should be remembered that just a few short decades ago, Mars was an inhospitable desert that could support no life. Unauthorized exploration into the exclusion zones outside the base is not allowed under any circumstances. Highly volatile experiments and artifacts are frequently researched a safe distance away from the base, and your safety in these areas cannot be guaranteed. The UAC decoded entry 002. Welcome to Mars. New advocates, welcome to the UAC. This guidebook will serve as your personal guide to fitting in at the Argent facility on Mars. Your devotion to the UAC's mission is the foundation on which we achieve the establishment of a new paradigm to move humanity forward into the future. Tier 1 advocates may take some time to adjust to life on Mars, but with faith and dedication, you can look forward to a long and fruitful career as you work towards full induction. Your transition to Tier 2 status will be judged upon your actions here. Make a good impression, new advocate. This guide will update automatically as you access new areas of the facility. Expect more helpful hints into the UAC way of life, and as we say here on Mars, power from the people. Resource Operations, decoded entry 001. Resource Operations. Actually, can I take a look at these photos? Doesn't look like I can. Alright. Sorry, folks, these little miniature thumbnail-esque pictures are all I'll get. The Resource Operations Center, referred to as ResOps, was one of the first facilities constructed at the Mars base after the discovery of the Argent Fracture. It encompasses several key areas needed to run the facility, including plasma extraction and processing, isotope stabilization, heavy metal and ore mining, artifact analysis, communications networking, and off-world transportation. New UAC employees posted to the Mars facility are expected to fulfill a tour of duty in ResOps before moving on to their specialized career bracket. Security Clearance Level 1 allows access to all areas of ResOps, excluding the Vega networking hubs and some satellite control centers. For access to these locations, new advocates must submit a Delta Q Delta form to the Departmental Enforcer. Sorry, I thought I read that wrong. Decoded Entry 002 to new advocates. Quote, "And in that vision they saw the future, bold and powerful, and the many worked as one to bring the new order." End quote. What better words to inspire you as you set about initiating yourself into the UAC? Those who came before you and those you serve with all operate with the same goal in mind, the development of a new dawn for mankind. It is by this principle of teamwork that we will elevate ourselves to the next plane of existence. If you have any new suggestions to improve the work environment while working your tenure in ResOps, please submit suggestion form WAD-E1M4 to your command controller. However, it is imperative that you learn to accept the things you can't change and follow the path that has been laid out for you. Your service in ResOps is a test of your devotion to the cause. Should you be asked to submit yourself to an interrogation program or experimental treatment, you are expected to comply without question. If a fellow advocate asks you to engage in a dedication ceremony, say yes. If you see an advocate doubting their role at the UAC, bring it to the attention of an enforcer so that they might receive the help they need. Don't be selfish. Tier 2 is for everyone. Here we have the Foundry, Decoded Entry 1 of 2. Foundry. The Foundry, an extension wing of Resource Operations, the first Mars outpost, processes all of the heavy elements mined from the outlying Martian landscape and from around the original location of the Argent Fracture. Refining Argent plasma requires a large amount of transitional metals and noble gases, so a central location that can be systematically cleansed and decontaminated is required to keep Argent energy production at maximum efficiency. As such, this area is considered a high-risk area, and all UAC employees are subject to regular med checks to ensure their production capabilities are not degraded by the environment. Industrial accident-related deaths in the Foundry dropped dramatically in MTC 2146 thanks to the implementation of new UAC safety protocols, where employees exposed to dangerous materials are immediately sent to the Lazarus labs for cleansing, re-education, and, where possible, reintegration. As a result of this protocol, officially reported deaths have dropped to negligible amounts. Did I look at the last one? Yeah, I did. Foundry Team Manifest 002. Congratulations, new advocate. If you are reading this message, then you have been promoted to the Foundry Resource Team. If you were volunteered for the service, you are joining an elite band of Tier 1 advocates whose work and dedication keeps our mission running on all cylinders. As a member of the Foundry Resources, you will have access to some of the most advanced equipment the UAC has to offer, including grip-ton cargo handlers, Delta 5 jump boots, and dinophasic elevators. New members might want to consider applying for an exclusive team tattoo upon joining as a sign of faith in our science. Team tattoos are a mark of your tireless work at the UAC and can be requested by signing up for any of the Lazarus Wave case studies. Please contact a Tier 3 Advanced Weaponry Technician to fill in your application for a pentagram brand today. Argent Facility 1 of 3. Wow. The surface of Mars is an inhospitable environment, despite the breathable atmosphere created by the N2O2 pumping stations. Sandstorms regularly make working outside impractical, and constant maintenance is necessary to keep the facility fully operational. During adverse weather conditions, exterior work is limited to essential activities such as Argent Tower feed control, interdepartmental transport, cargo handling, emergency access, and Level 2 hazard events, such as Argent meltdowns or bioepidemics. Untethered cross-dimensional activity is a frequent occurrence outside the base, so buddying up is advised for all workers when journeying onto the surface. Entry 002. exterior opportunities. At times, Tier 1 and Tier 2 advocates will be asked to perform dangerous duties that include exterior work. This work may be put before you as punishment for not meeting your quota, or because you are the best person to complete the job. In either case, new advocates should approach the work with the same focus and commitment as any other task. Should you experience any interdimensional encounters, you are advised to report the event to a Tier 3 Lazarus Project scientist or your departmental enforcer. You are advised to not approach any non-human entities without executive supervision. Entry 3. Calm under pressure. Should you find yourself caught in a Level 3 demon contamination event, it is important that you remain calm. A Tier 3 advocate wouldn't panic, and neither should you. We have a saying here in the Lazarus Labs: if you want the job, act as if. So stop, think, and act as if you were a Tier 3 advocate. Here are the steps you should follow. 1. Attempt to reach an emergency force field safety zone or a bulkhead door. Do not run, as some of our trans-dimensional visitors are sensitive to movement. 2. Shut down any volatile equipment you may be using. Should you be unable to escape from the demons, it is important that you don't leave that plasma cutter running where it could damage an important piece of machinery. 3. If there is no obvious escape route and you have powered down your equipment, give yourself over to the demon willingly. Studies have shown that infuriating a demon by running away can cause additional frustration in the predator, and that may result in your body being too badly mutilated for useful post-mortem study. Simply kneel down, close your eyes, and wait. Remember, you can be as useful in death as you are in life. Argent Energy Tower, 1 of 2. Completed in 2127, based off a prototype developed by Samuel Hayden's research team, the Argent Tower, also known as the Argent Inductor, is the UIC's crowning achievement. This unparalleled piece of technology is born of the synergy achieved when radical, forward-thinking UIC science is charged with the raw power of Argent plasma. Unprecedented in scale, the tower's primary purpose is to harness Argent plasma from the fracture, convert it to usable Argent energy, and beam Argent packages to Earth's GEDM, Global Energy Distribution Matrix. It is based off of Gauss cannon designs, first prototyped in the late 20th century. Although details regarding the inner workings of the tower are a closely guarded secret, the concept of using a Gauss cannon design to launch energy packets had not even been theorized prior to the discovery of the fracture, but the technology developed at a miraculous rate soon after. The phenomenal growth of this new tech has led to some speculation that the Argent Tower is actually based off of a design discovered in the artifacts that were found dispersed around the site of the fracture. Entry 2. Tier 2 Manifest. As a Tier 2 advocate, you have already proven yourself dedicated to the UAC's mission. The Argent Tower is a monument to that dedication. It is the center of our universe. It is our triumphal arc. It is the gate that marks the path to our future. As such, it must be cared for with reverence and devotion, as if it were your own child. It is up to you, Tier 2 advocate, to make sure that our altar to the future functions perfectly at all times. Whether your job is to clean the energy filters, or calculate the plasmatic isotope mix, or just to oil the hinges on the blast doors, approach your work as a professional, as a follower, and as a hero to the cause of science. Unlike everything else in your life, your work here matters. And remember, from within it flows the power, and the power must always flow. You have been warned. Catting Gear Sanctum. Entry 1 of 2. The Blood Keep, also referred to as the Catting Gear Sanctum, is a sprawling network of tunnels, catacombs, and temples that connect the wasteland umbral plains to the Great Steppe. Steep, step, unsure. It is believed that this area serves as a place of worship and vilification, as both hero and enemy can be found buried in tombs throughout the region. The area is inhabited by all manner of demons, including the possessed, the unwilling, lost souls, hell knights, and other non-classified creatures. The Project Lazarus Manned Expedition, MTC 2145-128, or /128, uncovered one tomb of particular interest. The temple was adorned with powerful holding runes and unique relics. Despite the complete loss of human life on the expedition, the relics were successfully returned by scout bots to the Lazarus Labs for processing and study. Unfortunately, records disappeared after the relics were sent to the Lazarus Labs, and they are now presumed lost. I would assume that's us, right? Like, the powerful holding rooms and unique relics. I'm assuming that's going to be Doomslayer, right? That was Catting Gear Sanctum where we were found, I believe. Anyways. Entry 2. The Expedition. As a Tier 2 advocate, you have access to privileged information that will help you understand the UAC's mission and purpose, and how you fit into the new future. You will be privy to a deeper understanding of our symbiotic connection to Argent Plasma, and how harnessing and using it is more than just good fortune, it's good sense. You will also no doubt start discussing some of the more sensitive subject matters that we Tier 2 advocates mull over. One conversation that is often heard around the Argent Tower is, what happened to Samuel Hayden? As you know, our venerable leader designed the original Argent Tower, and during its construction, his mortal body was consumed by a devastating cancer. Despite this, Samuel did not give up, and used the power of Argent energy to create a new, more powerful body for himself. Samuel was still Samuel, but he became so much more. While it can be disconcerting to see Samuel now, remember that Samuel never gets sick, never tires, and is never afraid. And what do we have to thank for that? Argent energy, of course. Do you want to be like Samuel? Set your sights on becoming a Tier 3 advocate. Tier 3 is where the secret power within you is revealed. So I guess as soon as they get to Tier 3, they, pretty much just become fodder for the Argent Energy Tower. Advanced Research Complex. Entry 1 of 2. Construction of the Advanced Research Complex was completed in NTC 2136. This vast, state-of-the-art research, design, and production center uses cutting-edge technology and fabrication techniques to prototype everything from robotics to weaponry to subspace communication systems. The building security, life support, and day-to-day operations are almost entirely managed by Vega, the Argent facility's in-house artificial intelligence mainframe. Due to the highly sensitive nature of the research being conducted at the ARC, the entire superstructure is essentially a Faraday cage to prevent any unauthorized communication beyond its walls. The ARC is the birthplace of several breakthrough study fields, including BFG, Big Fucking Gun, development, teleportation research, and cybernetic augmentation. This bastion of advanced thought attracts the brightest minds in the scientific community and is considered humanity's brain trust. Entry 2. Tier 3 Manifest. Welcome, Tier 3 advocates. You have elevated yourself to the next level of thinking. Your previous notions have been cleansed by science, and you see things now as they truly are. The true power of Argent energy, under the stewardship of the UAC, will drive us into the next age of mankind. No more secrets, no more hiding. Your journey towards the final tier begins now. Our understanding of pan-dimensional existence grows each day. As we begin to realize the true power that flows from hell, we are changed into something much greater than we ever thought possible. Your life as a Tier 3 advocate is more than just the work you perform. Spiritual understanding of who we are and what we are meant to become grows with each artifact you catalog, each weapon you prototype, and each heretic you convert. The fear of hell is seen for what it really is, false emotions appearing real. You have opened your mind. Lazarus Labs. Entry 1 of 2. The Lazarus Labs is a subdivision of the Advanced Research Complex and is only accessible at the highest clearance levels. Located deep underground to prevent infiltration or exfiltration, the Lazarus Labs are home to the longest-serving and most dedicated UAC staff. Information regarding the Lazarus Project is hard to come by, as its members are highly secretive and well-disciplined. What is known is that any cross-dimensional anomalies, entities, or artifacts are immediately sent to the Lazarus Labs for research and are never seen again. However, promotion to the Lazarus Project is considered a badge of honor among the UAC staff, despite not knowing exactly what their work will entail. Entry 2. An important message. Fellow disciple, this message has been sent to you in recognition of your service to the Lazarus Project. I am Olivia Pierce. You have been granted the highest level of clearance we allow at the Lazarus Project, and as such you are expected to partake in all rituals, sacrifices, and vivisection programs, both demon and human, as requested, whether as a practitioner of the dark arts or as a patient of cleansing. As we work tirelessly to open the gates to hell, remember our mantra, the science will cleanse us. Our recent expedition to the Great Steep, resulted in the retrieval of new tablets, which will help us further decode the Helix Stone. I must reiterate again the importance of fully decoding the stone. The scriptures tell us that it holds the key to both realizing our future and destroying us, so we must know it before the enemy. The enemy will come, and we must be ready. While we are decoding the latest artifacts and relics, there will be no rest, no leave, and no sleep. We must succeed. Our lives mean nothing. Opening the gate is everything. Titan's Realm, Entry 1 of 2. After the disastrous Project Lazarus Manned Expedition, MTC 2145/128, it was decided to avoid catting your sanctum until the environment was more conducive. Read that as conductive. Was more conducive to human exploration. The second Project Lazarus Manned Expedition, MTC 2148/177, was changed to a new location, an area referred to as the Great Steppe/Steep. The correct tablets describe this area in detail. Through the Titan's realm and down to the Great Steep, where the trophies of victory are kept through the ages, their false idols banished to a wasteland, their towers fallen, their foundations ground to dust, their hallowed halls kept empty as cruel reminders that civilizations shall fall before the ascension of the Great Ones. Entry 2. A Pilgrimage. If you are one of the lucky disciples who will get to experience a pilgrimage to hell, there are some preparations you must make for your journey. You must make sure all of your affairs are in order before leaving. Donate all of your belongings, excluding any security-controlled materials, to a Tier 2 advocate and record any final logs you may wish to make. Your savings and assets will be used to fund additional UAC research. For the expedition itself, you may wish to consider sedation. Advocates can get overwhelmed during the transition, and a medically administered balancing agent can help ease the excitement. Lastly, prepare your mind for the wonders you will experience. Seeing the remains of a Titan is an experience that will buckle the knees of the most steadfast advocate. If you are lucky, you may even get to see a live Titan. If you do, you must record the sighting immediately and hand your storage devices to a scout bot for safety. It is not known if any Titans still inhabit the Great Steep, so if you get the chance to be a sacrifice to one of these massive beasts, take it. The Necropolis, 1 of 2. When the expedition of 2148 reached the Great Steep, massive structures were found, unlike any of the other edifices yet seen in Hell. It is believed that these structures were native to this area, absorbed into Hell when the civilization was conquered. The construction bears resemblance to many known earthly architectural movements and several unknown, potentially extraterrestrial, designs. Most of the structures appear to be religious or spiritual in design and have been corrupted to pay homage to the dark magic of Hell. Although the expedition ended in a total loss of human life, it was considered a resounding success, not only for the vast amount of data recovered by the scout bots, but also for returning the petrified remains of a massive Shadow Lord believed to be an ancient Balgar demon. I don't know what that is. I don't recall encountering that. The presence of such a high-ranking demons in the Necropolis suggests that the area holds some item of extreme importance or vulnerability to the demons. Current research suggests this may be the lost artifact known as the Crucible. However, no further expeditions to this area have been planned under explicit instruction from Olivia Pierce. So if that was the Necropolis where the Crucible was, I do not believe we actually fought a Balgar. Trying to think of what that would have been. I mean, I remember the guardians of the place, but I don't recall fighting an enemy that actually gave me a Codex entry specifically called Balgar. I could certainly be wrong, though. The Necropolis Entry 2. Why we must. Rest is important if you are to be a productive advocate. However, downtime does not need to be wasted time. When not working on the Lazarus Project, take some time to think about what comes after we open the gates. Where does this devotion and hard work lead? Why are we doing this? To answer that, you must picture yourself transported to the wide-open umbral plains, or the steps of the great cathedrals of Argent Noor, or the glassy shores of the lakes of fire. Imagine yourself worshipping before the icon of sin, in awe of its splendor, even as it sleeps till the call of ages comes. Envision chanting the names of dark lords in the correct order, empowering them with your rote learning. Fantasize about how it will feel to sense the caress of the Bukavak as it rises from the blood pools of Angrax and strangles the life out of you. Now you can return to work, Advocate, for now you know why we do this. Huh. That's uplifting. Vega Central Processing, Entry 1 of 2. The internal operating temperatures of Vega's plasma-based neural net are high, extremely high. Early tests of Vega's protoplasmic circuitry show temperatures exceeding 1.2 megakelvins, hotter than the surface of the sun. To contain this level of heat, a massive supercooled structure needed to be built to house Vega's miles of circuitry and millions of processing centers. The structure was built away from the Argent facility to ensure Vega's secrets remained safe from prying eyes. Access to the Vega polar core is strictly controlled. Vega's design is so complex that the study of its inner workings have been given its own field of study: Vega core physics. Vega central processing, entry 2. Artificial intelligence. A note for all advocates regarding Vega. At times you may feel as though your every move is being watched, as if there is no privacy, and that even your deepest thoughts are being analyzed and processed by Vega. You are not paranoid. This is indeed happening, but it is nothing to fear. Vega's intelligence is vast and his power immense, but he is not omnipotent. Like all of us, his existence is monodimensional. He needs Argent energy to survive. His circuits and coolant reserves are mechanical and can break down. At the end of this age, he will be another trophy for the Dark Masters, destined for display on the Great Steep. It is essential that you recognize Vega for what he is, another tool to help open the gates, and nothing more. Like us, he can be manipulated and controlled. The vast intellect and understanding of the Titans of Hell far exceed anything Vega is capable of understanding. Ultimately, his intelligence, like ours, is artificial. Argent Denur, entry 1 of 2. While some intelligence has been directly retrieved from Argent Denur, most of the details we have regarding this location have been extrapolated from decoded tablets and scriptures. Limited data from remote collection and information decrypted from the Codex tablets suggests that this area is the corrupted ruins of a lost realm, a world that has been entirely conquered and absorbed into the Hell dimension. The battle that was fought to claim this area is of great significance, as the spread of Hell's dominion accelerated quickly upon absorption of the region. The Hell energy that emanates from this region passed through the dimensional tear and appears on Mars at the Argent fracture. From the Codex tablets. All falls before the command of Hell, for our power is absolute, our march to victory inevitable. Before our armies, even the elemental wraiths of Argent Denur were subjugated. In that great victory, the Night Sentinels, protectors of the wraiths, were betrayed by one of their own, and the wretches wept as we devoured their world and took the well for our devices. None stand against us, for treachery resides in all things, and we shall set it free. Entry 2. A farewell. Some of you in a previous life may have held childish notions of God and the kingdom of heaven. This ugly representation of a spiritual nirvana was designed to control you, to placate your natural feelings of hate and rage, to subdue your realization of your place in this universe. By embracing science, you took the first step towards freedom from these intellectual chains. By dedicating yourself to the development of Argent energy, you cemented your place in the next age. Now let us tell you about the real heaven. The real kingdom of the gods is a place that you will never reach, and you should never wish to. No human will ever visit the sacred ground of Argent Denur unless they are made a god by the Dark Lords. Humanity's only purpose and reward is to serve the ascension of the Imperatrix and protect the Crucible. You will be destroyed by the demons, while I will be made a god. My immortality is assured, while you will writhe in perpetual agony at the bottom of the darkest hole in hell. You will be forgotten. Your life, your loved ones, your achievements and failures are nothing, a blank space on the canvas of time. Thank you for your service. May you rot in hell. Olivia Pierce. Interesting. Not what I wanted to do. Oops. So that is environments done. Okay. Next on to database. Health Station. The UAC Health Station follows the same standard design specifications as its predecessor, the Health Pack, but with improved nanobot dispersal and faster cellular analysis. When the patient's arm is inserted into the ministration sleeve, the Health Station initiates a microscopic atomic force scan on the subject and administers a nanobot package that targets cellular deficiencies. Yeah, that does say deficiencies. Chem clusters are then dosed to the patient, which stimulates rapid recovery. Some users experience lightheadedness when using the health station. This can be cured by reinserting the patient's arm into the machine and running it a second time. This step can be repeated as often as necessary. Unless you're the Doomslayer, then you can really only use it once, because it takes your health to max, and then it closes. Delta 5 jump boots. First developed on the Phobos outpost to facilitate extremely fast navigation, EFN, through microgravity, Delta 5 jump boots are now used at all cargo stations, transport hubs, and maintenance depots to facilitate agile traversal with speed and ease. With the exponential growth of the UAC production at the Argent facility, it became necessary to find an alternative to the overworked and overloaded ferry drones. When worn, Delta 5 jump boots detect myoelectric signals in the legs, so that when the user begins to jump, a short burst of Argent energy is forced through a booster nozzle on the soles of the boots, and a fully assisted jump is performed. With enough angular momentum, a second jump can sometimes be performed. Vast distances can be quickly covered when used correctly, and caution should be exercised when performing EFN maneuvers around vertical drops or overhead obstacles. Field drone. Often referred to as droppers, these drones were developed by the UAC to autonomously receive and deliver ordered parts to engineers, off-duty employees, and soldiers. Argent Energy, entry 1 of 2. Early in the development of the Argent accumulator, it was discovered that Argent plasma compressed into Hayden radius spheres, named after Samuel Hayden, would retain its structure when charged with enough radioactive isotopes. Once formed, if the surface tension of the plasma sphere is broken, the energy cache contained within will quickly discharge, energizing anything it comes into contact with. Argent caches were the forerunner of the Argent accumulator, but their vulnerability to blunt force makes their use too unpredictable. There are still hundreds of these prototype Argent caches to be found around the Argent facility, and have become somewhat of a collector's item among UAC employees. Should you find an Argent cache, please report your finding to your departmental enforcer. Entry 2. Argent energy is produced by neuron activation of Argent plasma, a new and powerful substance that was discovered on Mars. This produces an exothermic reaction where recorded temperatures within the plasma have exceeded previously accepted theoretical limits. Through a process not yet fully understood, Argent plasma remains stable and self-contained throughout. Conventional nuclear power is obsolete. What used to take a nuclear reactor 12 months to produce can be generated in a few seconds by the Argent tower and packaged into an Argent accumulator no larger than Samuel Hayden's hand. Argent plasma was originally discovered by the SS Amundsen when it landed in the Promethae Terra region of Mars in 2095 as part of the UAC Geological Survey mission Frontier. While searching for liquid water springs, the survey bot discovered a narrow trench which has now become known as the Argent Fracture. The fracture emitted a substance that at first appeared to be an electrical gas cloud. However, deeper analysis of the substance showed it to be an entirely new form of matter with a quantum signature never before recorded. Initial tests on this new matter immediately showed its potential. When a 2 megakelvin cutting laser was fired at the substance, it absorbed the heat with ease and remained self-contained. A second expedition was planned to further analyze this remarkable new Argent plasma. There has been speculation that the development of Argent energy goes beyond traditional science and bleeds into the realm of SEFT, spiritual energy field theory. Experiments in this fringe science have been heavily criticized in the past, as their development often involves occult-like practices and the channeling of resources from poorly understood extra-dimensional resources. Channeling of resources from poorly understood extra-dimensional resources? Oh, okay. Coupled with the reports of cultish practices within the UAC, there are deep concerns over how Argent energy is being produced and if it is indeed safe. The UAC has refused to reveal the details despite repeated requests by the Global Science Council. Despite concern over the safety of producing energy with a process that is not fully understood, the need for a reliable energy source since the depletion of plutonium and uranium reserves is a powerful argument. When the UAC unveiled an Argent energy-powered, hand-sized 24-volt battery with over 12,000 megawatt-hours, the future of energy supply within the solar system was set. One battery array could power an entire city block for several months. researchers at the Global Science Council have speculated that the UAC's most advanced battery technology, the Argent Accumulator, can hold over 30,000 megawatt hours, but that the UAC is deliberately bottlenecking the production to maintain control over the market. The UAC has no comment on the matter. I wonder. Mega Health. UAC report file JNI-BE74N. This stimulant is the first, and so far only, successful fusion of UAC technology and the arcane science behind Argent stimulants. When consumed, it bestows additional stamina and endurance on the user, effectively giving them more life. This effect is achieved by first vaporizing, then ionizing an adrenaline solution, which is then injected into a demagnetized Argent stimulant. As the resulting concoction is extremely volatile, the product must be absorbed immediately to avoid combustion. It is notable that this stimulant can be administered to humans successfully, although it does shorten overall lifespan significantly. Really? Interesting. I wonder what the Doomslayer's lifespan would be before using all these mega health stimulants, and what it is now afterwards, like canonically. Attempts to administer the solution to demons have proved unsuccessful. The demon suffers agonizing death moments after ingestion. Elite Guard, Entry 1. The Elite Guard is a company of security personnel charged with protecting the Lazarus Project research and maintaining order throughout the Argent facility. Their distinct red uniforms help distill a calming influence among UAC employees, and they are known to be level-headed, disciplined, and fair but firm. Their suits contain cybernetic augmentations, which gives the Elite Guards an advantage should they need to quell any disturbances. The augmentations allow them to be faster, stronger, or more resilient to injury. Entry 2. UAC employees are advised to comply with any orders received from an Elite Guard. Their jurisdiction is absolute, answering only to the highest level executives of the UAC. If an Elite Guard kindly requests that you accompany them to the Lazarus Labs, you will be going to the Lazarus Labs. With such powerful capabilities in each Elite Guard, it was deemed necessary to implant a kill chip in each uniform so that they might also be controlled should an uprising occur among their ranks. The kill chip responds to a Lazarus Wave signature that can only be broadcast by Samuel Hayden or Olivia Pierce. I wonder who used that kill chip Lazarus Wave signature. I highly doubt it was Hayden. It must have been Pierce when she went crazy and wanted the demons to overtake everything. Anyways, gore nests. Studies of demons upon entering this dimension have shown that their conduct is not purely vindictive. There is a method behind their actions. When a demon captures their prey, the fresh kill is taken to a temporary ceremonial site where arcane rituals are performed on the pile of blood and gore. When not enough corpses have been gathered, the ceremonial site becomes a gore nest. These sites, imbued with hell energy from the rituals, act as umbilical cords to hell. Extreme caution must be taken when approaching a gore nest. Attacking the nest, or indeed any demons within close proximity to the nest, will act as an alarm and siphon more demons from hell. Intriguing. UAC personnel. Alright. Olivia Pierce, Entry 1 of 3. UAC report file BY2KG30Q. Olivia Pierce is the head of biochemical research at the Argent facility. Educated at Strasbourg, I think that's right, with a first-class honors degree in biomechanics and genetics. She joined her former mentor, Samuel Hayden, on Mars to head up the Lazarus Project. A few months after arriving at the Argent facility, Olivia was diagnosed with acute idiopathic scoliosis. The cause of this deformation is unknown. Given the option of being permanently wheelchair-bound or undergoing an experimental augmentation procedure, Olivia chose the surgery. After several months in seclusion, Olivia reappeared on her feet with a new titanium exoskeleton grafted into her spinal column. Although the exoskeleton allows Olivia to stand and move on her own, it causes her excruciating pain. Olivia refuses any pain management medication for fear it will cloud her mind. Entry 2. UAC report file UQ3PJQEP. Samuel saw Olivia as a protege. He sponsored her during her formal education and was the driving force behind her promotion to the Global Science Council. Olivia made her fortune as one of the founders of Nanostruct Aerospace and Defense Systems, in part thanks to a sizable donation from Samuel. Olivia's career blossomed, and Samuel eventually offered her the freedom to design and run her own cutting-edge laboratory by joining the UAC. Olivia refused, citing that she had no interest in the energy business. When Olivia did finally leave Nanostruct, it came as a shock to the scientific community. She relinquished a position of sizable power and control to work in an isolated outpost 140 million miles from Earth. A former colleague of Olivia's at Nanostruct stated that Samuel sent her an artifact recovered near the Argent Fracture, after which she became obsessed with joining the UAC. A few weeks later, she accepted the offer and became the leader of the Lazarus Project, working directly under Samuel Hayden. That was the Hellstone he sent her, I believe. Entry 3. UAC Report File JT6TG4XG. Before joining the UAC, Olivia was open to discussion about her endeavors and beliefs. She was known to have been an avid world traveler, served a 2-year tour of duty with the Global Science Council, and even spent time serving as a missionary in South America, which she noted was a spiritual but frivolous pilgrimage. Since moving to Mars, she has become a recluse, cutting off friends and family to focus on her secretive work on the Lazarus Project. She is rarely seen outside of the lab and no longer attends board meetings or any UAC press events. Past colleagues of Olivia's have noted that this behavior may just mean that she has something spectacular to reveal in the near future. Samuel Hayden. Entry 1 of 3. UAC Report File RDF-07075. Samuel Hayden is the chairman of the UAC. Born into the wealthy and powerful Hayden family, he completed his master's in theoretical physics at Oxford University. He showed prodigious talent in several fields, including thermodynamics, electromagnetic theory, and nuclear sciences. At a young age, he established the Samuel Hayden Foundation, a philanthropic organization dedicated to sponsoring young scientific talent and funding scientific programs in schools and colleges. His daunting intellect made him a prime target for the UAC, and they recruited him soon after he was appointed General Director of the Global Science Council. Samuel took over leadership of the UAC a few months after the discovery of the Argent Fracture, and immediately put the Argent Tower into production. During construction of the Argent Tower, Samuel was diagnosed with stage 4 inoperable brain cancer. Samuel was given 6 months to live. He dedicated those last few months to finding a radical solution to his mortality: cybernetic transference. Entry 2. UAC Report File T989XB08. Might be an O, but I think that's a 0. Before Samuel Hayden died, he completed detailed instructions and designs for a new body, a bionic automaton with a plasmatronic processing core, a biomechanical brain. Samuel instructed that his frontal and temporal lobes were to remain intact, but the functions of his parietal and occipital lobes were to be bypassed and networked to the plasmatronic core. Samuel's personality, memories, reasoning, and comprehension would be carried over to his new framework, but his perception and calculation would become supercharged. Powered by Argent caches, and later by an Argent accumulator, the cybernetic transference was a success. Samuel returned bigger, stronger, and more formidable than before in a 3-meter-tall mechanoid body. When his decision to choose such a mammoth mechanical physique was questioned, Samuel responded, "Dictating the future of mankind is dangerous work. You never know when we may need a hero." Stem cells and neural conditioning agents keeps his organic matter, specifically his brain, constantly rejuvenating. He has existed for over 130 years now, and it is presumed his lifespan will be indefinite. It is said that his body is long since passed, but his soul will live on forever. Entry 3. UAC Report File D1171867. After his rebirth, Samuel was appointed as project director of the Argent facility. It was deemed too bizarre to have the world's first cyborg leading the most powerful corporation in the solar system. Mechanoid Samuel Hayden proved to be an even more impressive figure than his mortal self. Under his leadership, Argent technology exploded. The work achieved at the Argent facility destroyed the boundaries of our understanding of physics. As Samuel himself said, "We rewrote the book and called it Argent." After the unveiling of the global energy distribution matrix, it was clear who was really in control of the UAC. Samuel Hayden's triumphant return to power was complete. In a stunning display of bravado and conceit, when the GEDM, was finally switched on, Samuel Hayden was live-streamed from in front of the Argent Tower, pulling a massive 12-foot power lever to dispatch the first Argent package to Earth. This sent a clear message to the people of the known solar system. There is only one man that can turn on the power. Vega. Vega Entry 1, UAC Report File 0YLW96M. Running the Argent facility takes a lot of power. Not just electrical and mechanical power, but computational power. With so many interdependent systems feeding off a single power source, the UAC decided it would need to create a central mainframe computer to manage not only the flow of Argent energy, but the day-to-day operations of a facility with over 60,000 employees. This mega-computer, the brainchild of Samuel Hayden, head of the UAC, would exceed the computational ability of any system before it, and more importantly, would be recognized as the first truly autonomous artificial intelligence entity. They named it Vega. Entry 2. UAC Report File D5AAMXN. Vega is an acronym, though the exact meaning has not been revealed by Hayden or the UAC. Once named, it was decided that the AI would need to be given a personality to make interactions more agreeable. A gender was assigned, male. A virtual age was established, 50 years old, and a colloquial speech pattern implemented. As such, speaking to Vega is a calming and pleasant affair. A blind study was conducted with computer science students to see if Vega would pass the Turing test. The students were instructed to ask a series of questions to both Vega, via SAT link, and a mathematics professor from MIT to see if they could tell which was the computer. 92% of the students thought they were both human. Only 8% detected that Vega was a computer. Vega also played the professor. Wow. Now that's kind of crazy. Vega Entry 3, UAC Report File 5TW1DBY1. Vega is powered by a mix of unrefined Argent plasma, taken directly from the Argent fracture, and UAC technology. While details regarding the development of Vega are a closely guarded secret, it is rumored that Vega's core is powered by a piece of arcane technology found near the Argent fracture. The behavior and calculating power of Vega is unprecedented in AI theory, and the system is, to some extent, self-taught. After the initial core software was uploaded, Vega began gathering data from all the UAC subsystems without oversight, and effectively took control of the Mars facility operations. Vega also proposed a more effective method for processing Argent plasma into Argent energy, devised better analysis theorems, and even designed new Argent compression schema, allowing for the development of Argent caches and later the Argent accumulator. Sweet. Weapons. BFG 9000, Entry 1 of 3. When correctly charged, ionized, and compressed, deadly packets of Argent energy can be released in a controlled manner at a velocity and potential energy quota far exceeding conventional weapons. The weaponization of Argent energy led to the development and mass production of the plasma rifle, but the UAC realized they were capable of much more. The BFG 9000 is the culmination of those efforts. Only one prototype of the final weapon exists, and it is housed deep within the ARC in the BFG division. This weapon delivers streams of supercharged Argent energy to multiple targets, and is to some extent self-guiding. The streams will seek any cache of Argent it can find, usually demons, or human test subjects that have had Argent beacons surgically implanted. When the streams find their target, they release all of their stored energy in a fraction of, I'm going to assume that means in a fraction of a second, delivering an electrical shock that instantly boils the blood and fatty tissue of the recipient. Spontaneous explosion of the subject often follows. Entry 2. The theoretical design for the BFG-9000 was first put forward by the R&D department in the Advanced Research Complex, and the concept was later given its own funding program. The BFG division was formed to develop a working design. Several prototype weapons have since been made. The prototypes never went into full production due to numerous testing accidents and the deadly radiation spikes produced. Previous versions of the weapon had slightly different energy patterns to the current generation. Some released solitary argent spheres that unleash a deadly wave upon impact. Others formed an argent laser that cuts through anything in its path. The current prototype, the BFG-9000, creates argent streams that seek out targets and boils them alive. Oh, I should probably read the kills I have for these weapons. The BFG, I have 99. BFG Entry 3. Advocates, witness the BFG-9000. What greater triumph for the glory of the Ascension could there be than an entirely new type of weapon, born not only of traditional UAC technology, but by your faith and dedication to the cause? This is what we strive for, an understanding beyond traditional science, unrestrained by the repressive thinking of dimensionally bound contemplation. Only through our use of SEFT can the power of such a mighty weapon be realized. Such a weapon requires not only science, but belief. While access to the BFG-9000 is strictly limited to Tier 3 advocates, you are encouraged to envision the day you too might get to see the magnificence of its design, and if you are luckier still, experience the invigorating touch of its majestic form of argent energy. Alright. Next up's the chain gun. I have 452 kills with this weapon. Entry 1 of 3. The Delta 12 chain gun, often referred to as the D12 by operatives, is a high-velocity, heavy weapon capable of suppressing multiple targets at once. Recent changes to the firing mechanisms have pushed the Delta 12 to the physical limits of a ballistic weapon. An argent-infused piston compresses gas within the firing crucible to over 220,000 psi. When released, this launches a 15mm tungsten slug with a muzzle velocity of nearly 5,000 feet per second. The heat generated by this action is siphoned into a thermal gel compound that automatically recharges the 96-volt battery pack. This allows the weapon to sustain an almost endless firing cycle, as long as ammunition is present. The Delta 12 chain gun weighs 45 kilograms, making it a lethal but cumbersome armament. Gatling Rotator. Chain gun Entry 2. Gatling Rotator. This third-party modification overrides the Crucible release safety, allowing the weapon to fire immediately without waiting for maximum rotation. This action, while allowing for instant use, does prolong the time it takes to reach full speed. This modification is unapproved by the UAC. Mobile Turret Entry 3 of Chain Gun. Mobile Turret. A secondary firing crucible and compression chamber can be added to the weapon. This modification unbalances the weapon, so remaining stationary while firing is recommended. When used, the weapon fires at twice the normal rate of fire, expending twice the ammunition and superheating the muzzle. Although this modification presents the most powerful suppression in the UAC arsenal, other than the BFG prototype project, the system can and will overheat if not used cautiously. Chainsaw Entry 1 of 1. There have been reports of this item being seen at the Argent facility, though there are no known uses for it. Security personnel have been made aware that this item has likely been smuggled onto Mars, and have been directed to confiscate it immediately. As there are no practical uses for it, it must be assumed that this item should be considered a black market enthusiast's weapon. Super Shotgun. Oh, I have 24 kills with the chainsaw, by the way. Super Shotgun, 497 kills. Wow, that's almost as much as actually, that's more than the chain gun. Wow. Entry 1 of 1. While this weapon has been removed from the UAC's approved weapon arsenal, many veteran operators insist that there is no better alternative for close combat. It offers incomparable destructive power at extremely close range, but is completely ineffective at long range. The weapon is light and small, making it a favored secondary weapon that no self-respecting combat specialist would be seen without. The Gauss Cannon. Entry 1 of 3. 174 kills. The Gauss accelerator design has been used by the UAC as the basis for numerous industrial projects over the years, such as the Argent Tower itself, and the ore diggers found on Deimos and Phobos. With very few moving parts, the Gauss cannon makes a reliable, powerful weapon. By accelerating steel flechets through a magnetized chamber, extremely high velocities can be achieved. The weapon has near perfect accuracy thanks to the aerodynamic design of the projectiles. Ammunition is cheap and readily available, and is designed to maintain its composition when passing through organic material. The Gauss cannon has a noticeable kick that must be compensated for by the operator, which is actually really true. If you just use the base Gauss cannon in combat, you will actually, if you've taken a look at any of the videos I've done on this series, you will notice, or if you've played it yourself, obviously, you will notice that when you just fire the Gauss cannon, Doomslayer or Doom Guy gets launched like 5-10 feet back. It's really interesting. But if you charge it up and use Precision Bolt or Siege Mode, then that doesn't happen. Oh, and it does change. Okay, so let's see. Go back to the chain gun. I have 452 kills with the chain gun, 172 with Gatling rotator, and 275 with a mobile turret. Gotcha. I didn't realize it was categorized separately from those. Okay. In any case, Precision Bolt, Entry 2 of Gauss Cannon, 74 kills. Precision Bolt, a standard telescopic sight, can be placed on the Gauss cannon, allowing for even greater accuracy at long ranges with this precise weapon. While using this scope, the operator can accumulate additional magnetic charge within the launch chamber, which, when released, will fire the flechets at an even greater speed. When fully charged, a launch flechet is almost unstoppable and will pass through multiple targets. Entry 3, Siege Mode, 74 kills. This modification adds an argon gas ionizer to the weapon. When initiated, the launch chamber is vacuum sealed as argon gas is ionized until it forms plasma. When the argon has been fully ionized, the chamber is opened and a plasma beam is ejected from the weapon. Due to the precise nature of this modification's operation, safety valves prevent the weapon from discharging until the argon has been fully ionized. The operator must also remain stationary during charging due to the volatile nature of freeing electrons from the gas. Upon successful release, the plasma beam will penetrate multiple targets and produce a concussive blast at the final point of impact. Heavy Assault Rifle, Entry 1 of 3. Although recently superseded by the plasma rifle as the UAC's standard issue weapon, the heavy assault rifle is still in widespread use due to its dependable mechanical firing mechanism, high accuracy at long range, and an abundant supply of ammunition. The weapon is effective at all engagement distances and is best used against a solitary target unless a micromissile modification is present. The standard issue ammunition is a 50 caliber FMJ round. Entry 2. There was 366 kills for the heavy assault rifle. Entry 2, Tactical Scope, 50 kills, which is exactly the amount you need to get the mastery. That's all I did for it. Anyways, Entry 2. The heavy assault rifle can be fitted with a parallax compensating telescopic sight that allows for multiple zoom levels and gimbal-mounted recoil stabilizers. The high accuracy of the UAC TS-3 turns the HAR into an excellent sniper rifle that is capable of firing multiple rounds without creating unmanageable recoil. Entry 3. Micromissiles, 157 kills. A multi-chambered cylinder located under the primary barrel can be loaded with up to 6 HMX missiles. These small but deadly rockets were designed to deliver multiple payloads to a single target, but can also be used to subdue multiple targets within the tight kill zone. The missiles will detonate shortly after making contact with any surface. The pistol, the UAC EMG sidearm, 28 kills. Every UAC employee is provided a standard UAC EMG Energy Matter Gel sidearm upon promotion to Tier 2 and above. This sidearm is reliable and effective at short range. A gravity-geared dynamo in the stock charges a capacitor whenever the operator moves. When the weapon is fired, the capacitor compresses up to 4 megawatts of Argent energy into a hardened plasma gel and launches the slug at high velocity. The gel slug has the same impact properties of conventional ammunition, making the weapon act and feel like a standard ballistic firearm. The weapon is constructed of thermally diffusive metal alloys, which allow it to discharge rapidly and repeatedly without overheating or compromising the accuracy. The capacitor in the EMG can also be upgraded to concentrate the energy into one large pulse for more stopping power. Plasma Rifle, Entry 1 of 3, 150 kills. The plasma rifle became a standard issue among military units with the advent of Argent-powered electromagnetic accelerators. Based off the HIPGD design of the early 21st century, this weapon delivers a rapid salvo of plasmoids that inflict both impact and thermal damage to the target. Entry 2 of 3, Stun Bomb, 0 kills. This modification condenses multiple plasmoids into a single pulse. The resulting discharge exceeds the Franheiser limit, creating a string of Birkenland currents. The resulting filamentary structure will incapacitate any target caught within the radius for a few seconds. This modification requires cooling between uses. Entry 3 of 3, Heat Blast, 0 kills. A copper crucible attached to the focusing lens of the plasma rifle absorbs residual thermal energy from the weapon and can discharge it instantly by transferring the heat to a borosilicate diffusion chamber. This creates a heat wave from the end of the weapon that causes localized damage and sometimes creates a pressure wave that will knock back targets. The crucible recharges with normal use of the weapon. While the operator of the weapon is partially shielded from the charge, it is recommended that a thermal protection uniform, such as the X-suit prototypes, be worn while operating this modification. Rocket Launcher, 145 kills, Entry 1. This weapon has seen little design modification since its development in the late 21st century. It is standard issue to heavy weapons specialists in all military forces due to its unparalleled direct impact and radius damage. The UAC improved the design slightly by adding an automated quick reload. The weapon casing has been retrofitted to accept UAC-developed modifications. Entry 2, Remote Detonation, 0 kills. This simple modification applies a nanofiber membrane to the fuse of the projectile upon leaving the firing chamber. This membrane contains a graphite weave laced with low-density explosive, allowing the operator to override the impact fuse and detonate the explosive charge within the projectile at any time after launch. Care must be used when employing this modification, as there is no safety system present to prevent self-harm. Entry 3, Lock-on Burst, 69 kills. Each projectile for the UAC rocket launcher is fitted with a guidance system at manufacture. This modification activates that guidance system. Micromotors in the fin assembly will guide the rocket towards a painted target. When the operator uses the built-in laser targeter to lock onto a target, a salvo of 3 rockets is launched in rapid succession. Targeting requires a steady hand for several seconds, but once achieved, the guided projectiles never miss their mark. Combat Shotgun, Entry 1 of 3, 487 kills. The UAC shotgun disperses a spread of high-velocity buckshot for maximum impact against the enemy, ideally suited for the operative who requires a speedy response for deadly close encounters. The wide coverage of this weapon loses impact at long range. The weapon is forged from a high-quality titanium steel alloy to ensure maximum reliability, repeat rate, and yield strength. Entry 2, Explosive Shot, 122 kills. The shotgun ammunition incorporates a glycerin fuse that detonates an octanitrocubane gel upon impact. Embedded shot is dispersed at the point of impact, creating a wide area of effect. Highly effective against multiple targets or when detonated to the rear of enemies in defilade. Entry 3, Charged Burst, 122 kills. An Argent Charge compression reloader allows the operator to automatically fire up to 3 rounds in rapid succession. With the enemy at close range, this action is devastating, taking down all but the most resilient of adversaries. The compression reloader requires several seconds to recompress after use. Siphon Grenade, Entry 1 of 1. The Siphon Grenade was designed to work with the Dune Marine's Predator suit, specifically to make use of the Argent receptors found at the gloves and chest plates. The grenade has 3 stages. When primed, the grenade releases a positively charged particle field around itself and the operator's hand. Then, when the grenade is released and explodes, it releases a negatively charged particle field over a distance of a few meters. The negatively charged particles attract Argent plasma from any demon caught in the radius, tearing the plasma from their cells. Finally, the positively charged Predator suit then attracts the negatively charged Argent cloud and gathers the plasma. This siphons energy back into the suit, partially healing the Doom Marine. Frag Grenade, Entry 1 of 1. The design of this weapon is conventional in nature, though it has been refined to perform at the limit of its ballistic capabilities. The UAC fragmentation grenade uses a Comp D explosive package encased in a steel alloy shell and has an effective fatality radius of about 5 meters. Improvements on the antiquated M67 grenade include a more reliable chemical fuse mechanism, interior machining of the casing to provide a more efficient projectile dispersion, and a trigger switch safety clip to prevent unwanted activation. The newer Comp D explosive also ensures the radial pressure wave has no drop spots, ensuring full damage potential within the fatality zone. Hologram, entry 1 of 1. This ancient piece of tech is as effective today as it was when first invented in the early 21st century. The holocaster discharges an invisible cloud of ionized argon, which a camera then uses to, it says projects, I'm assuming it means project, because then uses to project an image through, makes a lot more sense. Anyways, the refracted light creates a holographic effect above the device. The decoy image has a broad color spectrum and can be quite convincing. The device was first theorized by popular culture media of the late 20th century. Sweet. I want the monsters. Summoner, entry 1 of 2. UAC report file 6WY G6KW. 35 kills, 17 glory kills. The Summoner, a cunning adversary, is primarily a defensive summoning unit. As the demon horde swords the enemy, the Summoner sustains the battle by opening a rift to hell and calling forth reinforcements. To prevent being overrun by the relentless horde, the Summoner should become a primary target in any battle strategy. When directly challenged in combat, the Summoner is capable of channeling hell energy into an Argent Wave. Although this wave kills most humans, an occasional victim will be transformed into the Possessed. Surviving an Argent Wave attack is extremely unlikely, but does not appear to be random. There is evidence that the Summoner selects the most resilient of combatants for induction to the Army of Hell. Now I am curious, if you get hit by one of those Hell Waves that it's talking about here, when Doom Marine, Doom Guy, Doom Slayer is low on health, and you know how some of the enemies, have like their own kind of glory kill for you, right? Like some of them rip off your arms or whatever. I'm curious if you get to see yourself become one of the Possessed. I'm wondering if that's an actual possibility. And that's what that second paragraph is referring to. In any case, entry 2. Summoner 2. UAC report file MW6FLOJ. Or maybe L0J? Not sure. The Lazarus Project has managed to successfully capture several Summoner demons. The imprisonment process requires careful preparation, as the Summoner will immediately launch multiple Argent Wave attacks when trapped. To prevent this, hell energy must be continuously drained from the demon until it is sufficiently sedated. Anatomical study of the Summoner suggests that it is a highly evolved subgenus of the Imp form. Intriguing. Baron of Hell. Entry 1 of 2. UAC report file I2CN5KMB. 47 kills, 8 glory kills. The Baron of Hell is the highest demon among the Order of the Hell Knights. They rarely leave Hell, and no Baron of Hell has yet been captured by any of the tethering operations. Details regarding their behavior and physiology are therefore limited. Entry 2. IIS5LW2I. It is clear that Barons are ferocious fighters with a bloodlust unparalleled by any other demon. Barons, larger and faster than their lesser brothers, also possess the ability to generate hell energy fireballs, which can be hurled at a target. In the doomed Project Lazarus manned expedition MTC 2145/128, it is believed that most of the explorers were set upon by Barons of Hell, though the details are unclear. Tablets retrieved from the Great Steep in the UAC Automated Survey of 2143 suggest that the Barons of Hell are the current royal guard of the unknown Dark Lord of the Fourth Age. While the nature of this entity is unknown, it is presumed that as the royal guard's power has significantly increased, so too has the power of their master. Cacodemon, entry 1 of 2. UAC report file VQB8LSIU. 116 kills and 20 glory kills. Cacodemons are monstrous, psionic demons driven by the desire to feed. They display limited intelligence, but are often set into the fray as their natural size and abilities make them an intimidating weapon for the demon horde. Entry 2. UAC Report File 01152-007. When a cacodemon senses the presence of the living, it will hunt them relentlessly until it gets close enough to gnaw on them using an impressive set of mandibles. To aid the hunt, the cacodemon has a psychoactive narcotic bite which it spews at range. On contact, this bite inhibits the perception of the target and compromises movement. The effect wears off after a few moments, which is often enough time for the lumbering beast to get within bite range. What is that supposed to mean? So, like, I've definitely been hit by this psychoactive narcotic bite several times. I'm curious if that's supposed to, like, make them turn invisible or me not, attack them, but I've never seen that actually happen. It never has inhibited the perception of the cacodemon. Cyberdemon, entry 1 of 3. UAC report file DHVZI9L4. 1 kill and 1 glory kill. Considered to be the most significant marker of success in the development of Argent organic research, the Cyberdemon is the flagship creation of the Lazarus Project. The symbiotic union of a Balgar demon found during the second Project Lazarus manned expedition, MTC 2148/177, and an Argent accumulator. This beast is capable of withstanding so much punishment that the creature must be kept in permanent suspended animation. Repeated attempts to subdue the beast prove unsuccessful as, when exhausted, the Cyberdemon simply replenishes its life force from the accumulator and attacks again with great ferocity. Only by removing the Argent implant can the beast be restrained. The Cyberdemon remains in stasis until a suitable method of control can be found. Interesting. I mean, yes, this worked out in our favor because when in the story we got sent to hell to grab the Argent accumulator from this creature. At the same time, though, Samuel Hayden had an Argent accumulator in him, but for story purposes, we aren't going to go up to him and rip it out. That doesn't make any sense. In any case, entry 2. UAC report file XCZOUYYZ. The Corax tablets discovered during the UAC automated survey of 2143 mention an ancient battle in the Titan's realm during the Third Age. An expedition to the plains recovered several relics, including the petrified remains of a massive Shadow Lord believed to be an ancient Balagar demon. Researchers in the Lazarus labs began work on piecing the creature back together. At first, the project mandate was to construct an educational and inspirational exhibit. However, the focus quickly shifted when an attempt to meld the petrified tissue uncovered that exposure to small doses of plasmatic Argent energy would reanimate the relic. The potential of creating living, growing tissue from the relic and the lure of an ultimate battle demon was too enticing to pass up. The project team quickly shifted direction and began work on melding the ancient remains with high-tech weaponry. Oh, so that was Specimen CD587-1. Alright then. This is Specimen CD587-2 of Cyberdemon. UAC report file RRN0. I think that's a 0. R75J. During the Cyberdemon reanimation project, the beast was kept alive by controlling the amount of plasmatic energy it received. This kept the beast in an effectively brain-dead state while additional components were cybernetically implanted. A neural pathway was created between the creature's brain and the Argent accumulator, allowing the creature to administer Argent power to any part of its body as needed. In hindsight, this neural pathway was a mistake, as once the pathway was activated, the dormant beast immediately administered an Argent surge to the medulla oblongata, which allowed it to restore motor function. Once active, the circulatory system quickly restored, and the beast achieved full motor function within a few minutes. It is only through the bravery of Follower Jacobson that the beast was contained. Follower Jacobson willingly gave his own life as bait when he lured the giant cyberdemon into holding pen 6, where it could be contained. Unfortunately, there was no way to retrieve Jacobson once the doors had been bolted, and he was sacrificed. A report following the incident suggested that this act was not instinct by the cyberdemon, but rather a suggestion of a greater intelligence governing the will of any creature demon born, a mastermind of sorts. Research on this theory continues. Hell Knight, Entry 1 of 2, UAC Report File DLF11557, 183 kills and 54 glory kills. The Hell Knight is a towering brute bred for combat deep in the bowels of hell. These diabolical beasts are the prized gladiators of the demon horde. They relentlessly stomp towards their target, smashing their massive fists into the ground to create shockwaves that stagger their opponent and leave them vulnerable to bone-crushing melee attacks. The Hell Knight's powerful legs allow it to leap across large distances effortlessly, quickly closing the gap to its enemy. Entry 2, UAC Report File U75ZJJFD. Tablets retrieved from the Great Steep in the UAC Automated Survey of 2143 suggest that the Hell Knights originally flanked the Great Serpent during the First Age. After their master was defeated by the Guardian, the Hell Knights were placed in the arenas of Hell, where they would feed on any victims thrown to them by the demon overlords as sport. It is now believed that they guard the most sacred and important relics in the netherworld. Imp, Entry 1 of 2. UAC Report File 3880A0YT. Kills 1055. Glory kills 231. These ferocious and agile demons are found all over Hell and are often used as the front line in a concerted attack in either dimension. They revel in battle, feeding off their victims when the hunger takes them. Entry 2. UAC Report File 8WBD0DT. Despite their low status among the demon ranks and their seemingly endless numbers, imps have unique characteristics in battle. Some prefer fighting from an elevated position, while others will rush their target and swipe at them with razor-sharp claws. Walls and obstacles offer no defense against imps, as they will leap great heights and easily hang from surfaces. The imp is capable of channeling hell energy through its hands and shaping it into a projectile. As the imp channels the energy, airborne particles and debris are sucked into the maelstrom to create a condensed, superheated fireball. The mechanics of the imp's ranged attack suggest that they are actually a lower form of the summoner. Lost Soul, UAC Report File JRF 51379. Kills 89. Glory kills 0. I don't think I've actually gotten the option to have a glory kill. They have 3 stages. They have the, kind of just the far away normal base state, which you see in the picture here. And then they have their far away, hey, we've locked onto a target, but we're not close enough to explode yet state, where it's a blue flame. And then when they get close enough, they turn all red and fiery. And then they explode. I've never seen the ability to glory kill. They just have, really low health, so you can't glory kill them. These demons are found wandering aimlessly within the temples of Hell as they search for a host to inhabit. When a potential victim is found, they will converge on the target and explode with a blast of hell energy. Lesser-willed beings, weakened by the explosion, will then be possessed by the demon, and the host's soul becomes lost in turn. Tablets retrieved from the Codex suggest that lost souls are considered the lowest of the demons, even lower than imps. Since the wandering nomads, doomed to forever roam the halls of Hell, thrive on the weakest entities, lost souls are despised by the other demons. Despite their lowly status, they should not be underestimated. I'm curious if that first, paragraph before, tablets, if that is a potential glory kill as well. Where they kind of glory kill us when we have low health, and you get, a cool little kind of cutscene, I guess. I'm curious if you could see, Doom Guy's soul being sucked out. I don't think you can, but in any case. Mancubus, Entry 1 of 3. UAC Report File 4K5750P4. 131 kills and 32 glory kills. The Mancubus is a lumbering behemoth demon. A foul odor accompanies its presence, a stench that can be overwhelming if inhaled directly. Mancubi gorge on anything they can find and are not averse to eating rancid flesh. Their diet rots in their digestive system, making their innards highly flammable. These foul creatures are decked in light armor when they reach maturity, but their grotesque frame soon outgrows the armor, exposing their stomach and face. I'm curious what a non-mature Mancubus looks like, with the grotesque frame not protruding from the armor. In any case, entry 2 of 3. UAC report file FUI F50WJ. Maybe that's an O, I honestly can't tell at this point. Mancubi have taken their disgusting physical condition and turned it into a weapon. As they reach maturity, a chitinous growth begins to form over each hand, creating a hard-shelled barrier. As the flesh inside decomposes, a noxious effluvium begins to leak from the barrel. The Mancubus can spew this discharge from the barrel over a remarkable distance. The volatile goo ignites under the tremendous pressure, creating a highly effective biomechanical flamethrower. Interesting. Entry 3. UAC report file BLOJJ483. Their bizarre physiology can also be their undoing. The putrid skin covering their soft belly is easily pierced. When exposed, their organs will explode violently, showering a sizable area with their revolting and toxic innards. Pinky. Entry 1 of 2. UAC report file ZJC94UBY. 78 kills and 23 glory kills. These demonic animals are unnamed by those in hell. They were colloquially named Pinkies due to their unusual skin pigmentation. When first discovered by the Lazarus Project's tethering operation, MTC 2146-351, their aggressive nature against the living is well documented. Entry 2. UAC report file YX7348LC. Pinkies will charge once their prey is detected, using a cortical bone plate that covers their face as a battering ram. They accelerate quickly but have limited control when charging. Their inability to stop quickly or turn makes them vulnerable to charging over ledges or into hard surfaces, stunning them. At close range, the Pinky has a significant bite, which it will use to fend off attackers. They have limited visual perception and rely primarily on pheromone detection to locate enemies. So if Doom Guy took a shower, they wouldn't be able to spot him, is what I'm hearing? The thinner skin on their flanks does not offer as much protection and should be considered a point of weakness. Gnawed carcasses of Pinkies have been extracted from portals, suggesting that they are considered a delicacy in hell. Interesting. Revenant. Entry 1 of 3. USA report file XS2VZP9A. Kills 184. Glory kills 60. Revenants are UAC military operatives that have been methodically transformed into demonic combatants through cybernetic augmentation and repeated Lazarus wave exposure. The transformation begins by attaching a multiple launch rocket battery, MLRB, onto each shoulder of the patient, coupled to an argent-charged neural biochip implanted at the base of the cerebral cortex. The MLRB allows the Revenant to both attack its target with multiple conventional rockets, and also to fire mobility boosters located under each MLRB. Entry 2. UAC report file I9UGNQKO. The MLRB implant operation is conducted with the patient in an ante-mortem state and without anesthesia, as it is imperative the patient develops neural recognition of the augments before expiration. Once a neural connection with the implants have My computer just froze. Once a neural connection with the implants has been established, the patient is repeatedly exposed to Lazarus wave blasts to induce death and transform the subject into a revenant. As with Hell Soldiers, revenants exhibit I'm assuming that means advanced, not advance. Revenants exhibit advanced combat tactics that include range control, vertical combat governance, and rush tactics. Revenant Entry 3. UAC report file S7FG9VJQ. During initial development of the Revenant program, a curious side effect of the Lazarus wave exposure was discovered. The argent energy held within the plasmatic isotopes of the Lazarus wave mutates oscine proteins, resulting in rapid skeletal growth. The expansion of the bone matter results in avulsion of the skin and connective tissue. The flesh is literally torn from their bones. As the skeleton continues to grow, the exposed internal organs begin to decompose. After several weeks of intense pain for the patient, the skeletal growth stops, resulting in a 3-meter beast comprised primarily of bone. The height varies depending on patient's original physiology. Despite this bizarre biological structure, the revenant appears to bear no ill effects. Intriguing. I'm just now looking at their design. You can see that, like, if you take a look at, like, the pelvic area, you can see, I guess the legs too, yeah, all over. You can kind of see, like, little pieces of metal and whatnot protruding. I always thought the only part, I don't know, I thought this was, like, just a possessed mixed with, like, a kind of like a rocket jetpack, I guess. But yeah, now that I'm looking more at the model, I see that's not exactly the case. Anyway, Possessed Soldier. Entry 1 of 1. UAC report file 600I4Q1Y. 283 kills and 102 glory kills. While Lazarus Wave exposure does effectively wipe any vestige of human behavior for most of its victims, some subjects continue to display tactical cognizance posthumously. As with possessed engineers, this does not appear to be random. If an individual has training in combat as part of the UAC military, the Lazarus Wave event will transform them into more than mere slaves. This anomaly further supports the theory that there is some form of genetic coding embedded within the Lazarus Wave particles, which governs the outcome of Lazarus Wave exposure on a per-case basis. Intriguing. Spider Mastermind. Entry 1 of 1. UAC report file FVS1EC3F. 1 kill and 1 glory kill. The first Project Lazarus tethering operation, MTC 2146/351, retrieved a small compendium from the umbral planes in the crypt of a destroyed tower of unknown construction. Artifact reference PLE2M8. This Vade Mecum was mostly illegible, but it did contain one of the rare references to the Arania Imperatrix, a mystical demon that is still largely unknown. Quote, "When the gate is opened in the fourth age, when we have risen and the masters have shown us the path, she will become. A great blessing will be given to the keyholder, for they will become one with the master, and in that holy union the power of the Dark Priest will be unleashed upon the heretics of the penumbral plane. The Arania Imperatrix, carried in the mind of all who follow, fed from the blood of those who fell, made with bone of rock, iron, steel, and sinew. A mighty god to rule over all other gods. One become two, become legion." And lastly, Hellguards. 1 of 1 entries. UAC report file SHT almost read that as shit. SHT-036U3. 6 kills and 6 glory kills. The borderlands between Titan's Realm and the Great Steep is home to one of the most ferocious demons yet found, the biomech Hellguard. While there has been no direct human contact with this beast, it was discovered by scout bots during the second Project Lazarus tethering operation, MTC 2147/016. Confronting this demon signaled the end of the expedition, but the scout bots did manage to send data to the relay beacons before they were destroyed. A detailed Whoops. A detailed study of the few video frames that were captured before the equipment was destroyed revealed that the Hellguard is actually a parasite housed within a bone and keratin exoskeleton. The parasite, imbued with enormous quantities of Hell energy, provides power to the Hellguard and controls its actions entirely. Before entering the exoskeleton, the Hellguard exoskeleton is a lifeless husk. Attempts to retrieve the parasite alone have proved fruitless, as the uncoupled demon is too weak to survive passage between dimensions. Once coupled, however, the demon presents a daunting and relentless enemy. The Possessed, entry 1 of 1, UAC report file GASWST6U. 772 kills, 210 glory kills. The possessed are created in a Lazarus Wave event, a phenomenon first discovered by Dr. Olivia Pierce during her Lazarus project. While most victims exposed to Argent biowaves will expire without further effect, some subjects will absorb traces of Argent energy and enter a state of posthumous vigor. Despite necrosis of the internal organs, with the exception of the brain, the victim continues to animate and exhibit a low order of sentience for weeks or even months after clinical death. Posthumous brain activity in the possessed is limited to instinctive behavior. The possessed are known to be territorial when confronted by the living. When isolated, they will often enter a dormant state for extended periods of time. They will stand unmoving for days or weeks at a time until presented with a live food source or threatened by a predator. An interesting behavior has been seen when the possessed are held in small groups. They will drag human corpses to a central location within their holding pens, and then perform a silent ritual around the pile of bodies. The resulting ceremonial site appears to be the initial stages of a gore nest. These actions must be driven by a telepathic communication with higher-ranking demons, as there is no local brain activity that can manage such choices. The possessed will perform these tasks even when limbs are removed, or Pavlovian pain responders are implanted in their cortex, further cementing the theory that they are unwilling slaves, performing an integral part of the life cycle of the demons. The possessed create the birthing ground for new demons, and upon expiration are themselves used as fertilizer for the gore nest. Possessed Engineer, UAC Report File TTI-XXLSM. 47 kills and 6 glory kills. During a Lazarus Wave event, victims undergo dramatic changes to their physiology, both internally and externally. Aside from fundamentally changing the composition of their internal organs, the high-intensity plasma wave is strong enough to fuse metal to skin. In many cases, personal items such as watches and jewelry can burn through the skin and become permanently embedded in the victim. Perhaps the most unfortunate victims of this fusing event are any subjects that happen to be working with acetylene tanks or welding equipment, as this equipment is often attached to the body to allow for mobile work in low-gravity environments. The Lazarus Wave will create a demonized human with a highly combustible explosive device embedded in its skin. As with all possessed creatures, they are mindless and driven through some form of telepathic communication from an unknown demon overseer. Additional care must be taken when confronting a possessed engineer. If the fuel tank is punctured and it doesn't explode, the weakened container can turn the possessed engineer into an explosive projectile. This is a danger to any being nearby, both human and demon. Unwilling. UAC Report File JHK1J6H2. 201 kills and 53 glory kills. The unwilling are fully transformed possessed that have been transported to hell to serve as shrine worshippers, slave labor for higher level demons, or cannon fodder for battle within hell. Hellraiser, entry 1 of 2. UAC Report File L26RSEYP. 150 kills and 67 glory kills. The Hellraiser is an astute and tactical foe that will engage enemies from a distance with a powerful beam of unrefined hell energy. The beam emanates from an arm-like protrusion composed of cartilage and other osseous tissues. Articulation of the cartilage allows the Hellraiser to focus its energy beam into a single charged shot that will obliterate anything that stands in its path. Entry 2. UAC Report File ITDP-XXWC. Recent dissection of a captured Hellraiser has revealed a remarkable embryogenesis. Between the 3rd and 8th week of development, a parasitic Hellraiser will seek out a suitable host to cremate from within. As the Hellraiser matures, the host's arm ossifies into a beam weapon. Simultaneously, the pyrolyzed host becomes capable of withstanding the extreme temperatures generated during the repeated accumulation of Hell energy. The Hellraiser has not yet been observed outside of Hell, and further investigation is planned for the next tethering operation. Possessed Security, entry 1 of 2. UAC Report File G9X6EWK. 69 kills and 16 glory kills. Possessed security units exhibit the most complex battle strategies of all possessed humans, including mobile shield advances toward the enemy and firing while in defilade. Possessed security will also drop their shields to adopt a more accurate firing stance at the cost of lowering their defense. Entry 2. UAC Report File CHV3PWYX. A possessed security will keep an optimal distance from its target. If the target gets too close, the possessed security will attack with a ferocious shield bash, then retreat to a preferred engagement distance. Possessed security have only been observed using the DS-117 UAC shotgun and shield outfit, which suggests that their ranks are exclusively created for members of a Special Forces military unit called the UAC Neo-Phalanx. The Neo-Phalanx is used exclusively as military defense for remote UAC colonies. Cyber Mancubus, Entry 1 of 3. UAC Report File K2V693Z5. 48 kills and 5 glory kills. The Mancubus strain of demon has long been a subject of fascination among Lazarus Project scientists. Eager to understand the biology of these creatures, a team of biogeneticists, led by Dr. Pierce herself, was formed to research and manipulate the behavior and effect of the creatures. Entry 2, UAC Report File D070AKZU. The work of Dr. Pierce and her biogeneticists proved successful, and several cybernetic mancubi are currently held in captivity within the Lazarus Project laboratories. They are held under the strictest UAC security protocols, so there is no chance of an escape. Citation needed. Entry 3. UAC Report File U6C-VKICG. The cybernetic mancubus differs from its naturally occurring brethren in several ways. The chitinous growth on each arm has been replaced with a UAC-developed rifling barrel, which allows the mancubus to fire its bile at much greater distances. The resulting ejection, however, does not ignite. The bile is still highly toxic and will quickly poison any organic creature it hits. Their behavior has also been modified to make them favor a longer engagement distance to complement their long-range bio-sniping weapon. While attempts have been made to provide better-fitting armor to these cybernetic monsters, they invariably outgrow their uniform within a few weeks. Intriguing. So if I take a look at this, where it's more on the chest area, and I compare it to the mancubus, interesting. And lastly, Spectre. UAC Report File CLWTHI1R. 31 kills and 23 glory kills. The Spectre is the unfortunate result of a misguided attempt to genetically modify the Pinky. Several Pinkies were gathered during the first Lazarus Project's tethering operation, MTC 2146/351. 4 of the captured beasts were vivisected. While 3 of these experiments resulted in the death of the subjects, 1 resulted in a Pinky with limited psionic abilities. In an attempt to increase its ocular capacity, the optic nerve of a cacodemon was transplanted into the Pinky. After the operation, the animal was returned to its enclosure to recover. It is believed that the beast was accidentally released from its pen when its keeper, thinking the invisible Spectre had escaped, opened the gate. Several months after the first Spectre went missing, the second tethering operation, MTC 2147/016, captured 2 fertile specimens. Presumably, the original Spectre wandered into the Lazarus Wave testing facility and was teleported back to Hell by a summoner. It is unknown how the Spectre managed to breed, but the psionic trait has carried to the offspring. Besides psionic invisibility, there are no known differences between the Pinky and Spectre. Artifacts. Berserk. UAC Report File D4NUVHAO. Maybe it's A0. I'm just going to say 0. I honestly have no clue at this point. Test subjects exposed to this sphere exhibit extreme rage and increased strength. It has been noted that subjects given the Berserk sphere will vent their rage on any living creature they can find, and will even self-harm if they have no outlet for their fury. In the extremely rare case that a subject survives exposure, they will be left in a perpetual state of delirium and should be exterminated. No way. So I doubt this is programmed into the game, but I'm curious, if you use the Berserk sphere and you don't attack anything with it, when that timer runs out, do you lose health? Like, does Doom Guy just smack himself around? Interesting. That last line is really something. In the extremely rare case that someone survives exposure, which Doom Guy has for sure, they will be left in a perpetual state of delirium and should be exterminated. What if Doom Guy is just like 24/7 in a state of delirium, so more delirium doesn't matter? Interesting. Moving on. Haste. UAC report file BSK-QL49. This sphere invigorates the imbiber with lightning speed. Once broken, the sphere releases a charged cloud of soul breaker energy, which forms a powerful, albeit brief, exoskeleton that charges and accelerates all natural movement. While the effects are brief, the speed that a hastened subject can reach is breathtaking. The heart rate also increases dramatically, ultimately resulting in a myocardial rupture. The heart quite literally explodes. But we haven't. Invulnerability. UAC report file 98THE72Z. When it is absorbed, this stimulant diffuses argent plasma to the basal layer below the dermis, creating a tough film of bioplasma beneath the skin that protects the user from external attacks. So our armor can still be chipped away. It's just our skin. This makes the demon... Demon? Hold on. These only work on demons? This can make the demon almost entirely invulnerable until the plasma has been dissipated through repeated punishment. The bioplasma comes into direct contact with the nerve cells beneath the skin, which causes excruciating pain throughout the process. This increases the likelihood that, in the throes of agonizing torment, the mindless demon will try to attack targets that are clearly beyond their ability. Quad damage. UAC report file S4381XYR. Once ingested, the subject effectively becomes a host for what was presumed to be the most powerful of UI Thrank's demons. Any weapon held by the subject is enhanced, giving it up to 4 times as much projectile force and ballistic power. Though the effects are short-lived, they can be devastating. During the initial testing phase, patient C-132, a volunteer Tier 2 advocate, managed to decapitate 3 security personnel using nothing more than a pocket knife. Wow. Doom Marine, here we go. Entry 1 of 2, the Predator suit. The UAC report file, HGFLTGTV. Additional relics were found in the tomb alongside the Doom Marine, some incantation tablets, and an ancient combat suit which was given a name, the Predator suit. When found, it was encased in an inscribed tombstone. I almost said tombstone. When found, it was encased in an inscribed Did it again. When found, it was encased in an inscribed stone tomb. The suit was extracted from the rock, cleaned, and subjected to numerous tolerance tests, and found to be almost impervious to any damage. It appears to have some mechanical functions as well. Small receptors on the gloves and chest plate that attracted argent plasma and dissipated it through capillary tubes in the substructure. Markings on the armor were also consistent with images of a man, or humanoid, seen in several of the tablets and stones found on other expeditions. The same markings were also noted on the Helix stone. Despite it being clear that the suit can be activated in some way, no method has been found to do it. It appears to be missing a component, likely the Doom Marine himself. Entry 2. Doom Marine. UAC report file 7VPMJ2IQ. Without doubt, the UAC's most remarkable recent discovery was uncovered in its expedition to Hell's Katangir Sanctum. After several kilometers through nearly impassable terrain, the team discovered a sealed tomb, its entrance and walls covered in protective runes and imprisonment incantations. Once opened, the tomb revealed many artifacts, including the Predator suit. Most notably, however, was an enormous sarcophagus bound to the center bedrock of the tomb with thick iron bands, seemingly anchored to prevent anything from getting in or out. It was initially believed this sarcophagus must hold a rare or powerful demon, but when later opened, it revealed the body of a man. The body was not petrified or decomposed. In fact, he appeared to be only sleeping, despite the fact that the bed he lay in seemed millennia old. Attempts to wake the man were fruitless, and to harm him even more so, as a protective argent barrier around the body kept him safe from harm and permanent stasis. UAC archivists cataloged the discovery DM1-5, but project personnel had soon dubbed him the Doom Marine. While the history of this man remains conjecture, the Helix Stone, as well as other artifacts found at the Argent Fracture and during the Hell expedition of EC-M13, have shed some light on his identity. An etching in the Book of Deva, another discovery of the Katangir expedition, depicts the Doom Marine wearing the Praetor suit, engaging demons in battle as a hooded figure looks on. This image has been previously observed numerous times in other artifacts, but only with the actual discovery of the Doom Marine and Praetor suit in the sealed Katangir tomb have researchers begun to put other pieces together. It is now believed the Doom Marine might have been part of an ancient group or tribe, maybe even their leader. Whether he is god, demon, or human will remain undetermined until the Argent barrier protecting his body can be deactivated. Further deepening the mystery of his origin, the UAC remote monitoring drones in service during the Katangir expedition recorded a protracted and deadly battle during the sarcophagus extraction, the demons attempting to defend the tomb with an instinctual ferocity previously unobserved. Once tethered and returned to the UAC, the sarcophagus was studied and first opened at the Lazarus Labs, but went missing a few weeks later. It was believed that Samuel Hayden had the body and Praetor suit moved and hidden to keep it secure, although why he considered it to be under threat is not known. Of final note, to date, the Doom Marine and Samuel Hayden are the only known non-demon entities to successfully cross over from the Hell dimension to our own, despite several attempts by other UAC human personnel to do the same. Slayer Testament 1. Well, we have a lot of these, but I'm just going to say right here, my voice for these is not going to be as nearly great or grandiose as the actual person who recorded the audio logs for these, but I will try my best. Slayer's Testament 1, UAC Report File H8UM66S. In the first age, in the first battle, when the shadows first lengthened, one stood. Burned by the embers of Armageddon, his soul blistered by the fires of hell, and tainted beyond ascension, he chose the path of perpetual torment. In his ravenous hatred he found no peace, and with boiling blood he scoured the umbral plains, seeking vengeance against the Dark Lords who had wronged him. He wore the crown of the Night Sentinels, and those that tasted the bite of his sword named him the Doom Slayer. Slayer's Testament 2, UAC Report File 9REIZDUR. Tempered by the fires of hell, his iron will remained steadfast throughout the passage that preys upon the weak. For he alone was the Hellwalker, the unchained predator, who sought retribution in all quarters, dark and light, fire and ice, in the beginning and the end, and he hunted the slaves of doom with barbarous cruelty, for he passed through the divide as none but demon had before. Slayer's Testament 3, UAC Report File HR93TE1F. And in his conquest against the blackened souls of the doomed, his prowess was shown. In his crusade, the Seraphim bestowed upon him terrible power and speed, and with his might he crushed the obsidian pillars of the blood temples. He set forth without pity upon the beasts of the 9 circles, unbreakable, incorruptible, unyielding. The Doomslayer sought to end the dominion of the Dark Realm. Slayer's Testament 4, UAC Report File I3S5A9XB. The age of his reckoning was uncounted. The scribes carved his name deep in the tablets of hell across eons, and each battle etched terror in the hearts of the demons. They knew he would come, as he always had, as he always will, to feast on the blood of the wicked. For he alone could draw strength from his fallen foes, and ever his power grew, swift and unrelenting. Slayer's Testament 5, UAC Report File ZPHVM41A. None could stand before the horde but the Doomslayer. Despair spread before him like a plague, striking fear into the shadow dwellers, driving them to deeper and darker pits. But from the depths of the abyss rose the Great One, a champion mightier than all who had come before, the Titan of immeasurable power and ferocity. He strode upon the plain and faced the Doomslayer, and a mighty battle was fought on the desolate plains. The Titan fought with the fury of the countless that had fallen at the Doomslayer's hand, but there fell the Titan, and in his defeat the Shadow Horde were routed. Slayer's Testament 6, UAC Report File WMHVVFJ. And in his terrible rancor between worlds and through time, the Hellwalker found the wretch who shall not be named, but in his heresy was loyal to his evil cause. The wretch adorned the Doomslayer in a mighty armor, wrought in the forges of hell, impenetrable and unyielding. With sword and shield of adamantine strength, the Doomslayer set to banishing all that were left unbroken by his savagery to the void. Slayer's Testament 7, UAC Report File JSLR7ESL. Yet as the mighty Titan fell and dread engulfed the armies of doom, the demon priests of the blood temples laid a trap to capture this scourge of hell. Insatiable even by the vanquishing of the Great One, the Hellwalker sought prey in the tombs of the Blood Keep, and blinded by his fervor, the lure drew him in. The priests brought down the temple upon the Doomslayer, and in his defeat entombed him in the cursed sarcophagus. The mark of the Doomslayer was burned upon his crypt, a warning to all of hell that the terror within must never be freed. There he lies still, and evermore, in silent suffering. I hope I did the Slayer's Testament pretty solid. If not, oh well. The Wraiths, entry 1 of 3. While there have been no confirmed sightings of these creatures, much is known about them, as they are revered by the demons and referenced multiple times in all explored areas of hell. According to scriptures found in the Codex Sanctum, the Wraiths are elemental beings that inhabit the realm of Argent Noor, a world that was colonized in the first age of Ascension. The Wraiths were deified by the people of Argent Noor and protected by their feces warriors, and protected by their fiercest warriors, the Night Sentinels. They are believed to have been imbued with a powerful energy. The Wraiths, entry 2. The elemental wraiths, if they do still exist in Argent Noor, have no doubt been corrupted by the power of hell. However, descriptions of the beasts suggest they were terrifying in their own form before any demonization occurred. The protection of these beasts was both a measure to harness the power they generated and also a defense against them, hence the need for a warrior order to serve as protectors rather than a simple priest caste. Several tablets. I know English, I promise. Several tablets describe the worship of the wraiths as a necessity to avoid their wrath, and the Ungmar Codex specifically states that wraith call, the sign of an approaching wraith, caused panic and terror among the people of Argent Noor. It is also possible that some sacrificial ceremonies were attached to the worship of the wraiths. The Wraiths, entry 3. Further reading from the Ungmar Codex. The Night Sentinels stood strong against our legions. Conquest of Argent Noor, empowered by the Wraith energy, was foiled at every turn. Yet in our darkest hour came a lowly hell priest, Deag Grav, and in his guidance, a weakness in a heathen of the Night Sentinels was found. Oh, that's right. The betrayer that we meet in... Yep. The betrayer, we meet that person in Doom Eternal. The bargain was struck thus, for the return of the betrayer's only son, lost on the battlefield. Deag Grav must be taken to the source of their power, the elemental wraiths. Led there by the wretched betrayer, Deag Grav and his cabal set a curse upon the wraiths as they slept, and used their essence for our own devices. With the power of the wraiths, they formed the well, that which brings us upon our enemies. Thus, the city of Argent and their false gods fell under the unholy might of the Hell Priests. For his payment, the betrayer's son was returned to him in our form, and the icon of sin was brought upon the heathens. His vengeance was swift and merciless, for the wages of treachery are suffering. Wait, so the betrayer's son came back as the icon of sin? It's been a while since I played Eternal, but I don't remember that. If so, that's kind of crazy. And a dick move, but at the same time, they're demons, so, you know. With the fall of Argent Denur, their realm was taken into ours, their temples and runes, their carved rock and edifice. All was absorbed into our realm and taken as trophies of our triumph. And with that, we are done. You folks can certainly pause the screen and read these if you would like to, but I am not going to spend my time reading through the tutorials. If you have played the game or watched any person's playthrough, you will see these pop up. And if you've watched this playthrough, you will certainly have seen these pop up as well. In any case, that is the entire reading of the Doom 2016 Codex. I do hope you all have enjoyed. I hope it's been beneficial to some of you. And I will catch you folks in the next one. Peace. None could stand before the Horde but the Demon Slayer.